Hi, everybody. I'm Sue Hillyard, and I am here with Rob Chahal. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Sue.
We are continuing our series of Astro Coffee up close and personal interviews with your favorite astrologers. And today, our favorite astrologer is Ryan Evans. Hey, Ryan.
Hi, Sue. Hey, Rob. How are you all doing today?
Hi.
We're happy to have you here. And
Oh, I'm glad to be here too.
we've got lots to talk about, and Ryan has been gracious to allow us to show his chart as we talk about his journey with astrology. So let's dig in. So
Yay.
the first thing, well, I guess we might as well start with the fact that when you looked at this, you said, "Oh, porphyry," and so you want to kind of give us a little background of, I mean,
You know,
what drew you to astrology, how it shows in your chart, and the difference between, using porphyry and placidus.
sure.
Go.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Love it. Well, thanks for having me on. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here and share my story with y'all and your avid viewers. Hi, everybody. Yeah, to your question, astrology. Like many of us with our teenage religious disillusionment, I found myself pursuing, like a good Sagittarius, other methodologies, cosmologies, different perceptions of the divine and how this crazy human world works on levels other than cause and effect, and other than, you got a lot of money and then you can make money, and those very common three-dimensional realms. And so, exploring the multi-dimensional realms through high school, my mother, bless her heart, a Sun Uranus 12th house Gemini, who had had some astrology readings in the past, said, I think it's time you have an astrology reading. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm ready. I was 18, almost 19, and I got a reading from the great Pat Kaluza in Minneapolis. I believe she's mostly retired now, but we were friends for many, many years. And sat down with her, and like many of us who have our first astrology reading, we say, "Oh my gosh, how did you know all of that?" on the one hand, and on the other hand, we get blown away with things that we hadn't even thought of before. Uh, Again, my astrologer, I was 18, she said, well, it looks like you're going to end up, uh, I don't know where I'm getting it. I'm just calling it as I see him, a priestess. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm, a heterosexual male here, a priest would be fine, shaman would be fine, but priestess, not quite, didn't quite hit home, but I was curious about him. What's up with that? Priestess. Okay. Put it on the back burner. Began to study astrology with her. When left the reading, went to a bookstore, bought like Isabel Hickey and a bunch of other folks, and just sat there at the coffee shop. Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, this is so cool. And so I studied with Pat for several years, and then it must have been 2006 perhaps. I attended a lecture that my good buddy Moses Sarigar was putting on with Stephen Forrest, How to be a Professional Astrologer. And it was in Sedona, Arizona. We love Sedona. Astrocartographically, Ryan loves Sedona. Puts the moon right on his IC. Yummy. And so, anyways, I went to Sedona, and the workshop was at this place called Angel Valley. And my name got pulled out of a hat. It happened to be a Jupiter return. and Stephen Forrest read my chart. And I was like, okay, I found my next teacher, right? What was interesting about that time though, is that it was my Jupiter return, and it was Steve's Jupiter return, our Jupiter's conjunct. And if you know anything about this topic, at this resort that we were at, a gentleman visited, and lo and behold, all of the Native American elders from the Southwest came there, and this gentleman was carrying the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. And Steve and Moses and I and the rest of the class got to have a private audience with the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. It was amazing. It was like here, me and Steve and Moses, and it was like, whoa. And so in that moment, you know, in those kind of synchronistic moments, you're like, okay, I think I know what I'm supposed to be doing. So a Jupiter cycle later, uh, graduating from the Northern California apprenticeship program with Stephen Forrest, I went off into the netherworlds for a few years, came back, and now I'm a teacher for the Stephen Forrest School, the FCEA. I do my own private readings. Well, I guess I have since 2007. I'm an organic cut flower grower. Got lots of kids. No, it's not quite like that, but and
A few
and
anyhow.
yeah, five, three of my own and two stepchildren.
Wow.
And so as a farmer though, and here's where it gets really interesting. You know, because it's 2007, I'm a young astrologer or a budding astrologer. It's not like we're, you know, making big bucks, yo, you know, dealing out the Astro all day, every day. No, we have to have, you know, for a while, a subsidiary job. And so I was an organic cut flower grower, selling flowers to florists in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and doing my astrology and doing floral design and observing the rhythms of nature and working deeply with the rhythms of nature, sun up to sundown, 365 days a year. You know, one gets pretty darn intimate with nature. And so in my intimacy, call it what it is, with nature, deep, reflective, literal conversations with nature, I've pretty much found the beautiful, exact, and precise link between nature and astrology, which basically says they're all the same. That's just a quick little plug for my upcoming book next spring. But in the meantime, here we are, and it's 2024, I think, almost 2025. And yeah, this astrology stuff is really the more I have done astrology over the years, the more I see it as, and I know this wasn't a question that was asked, but I'm giving it to you. I see astrology as a co-creation. I don't, I can't actually see astrology as causal. Magic beams from Saturn making your life hell, you know, Pluto causing all of this distress. You know, we astrologers can look, oh, it looks like, you know, and I said this myself. Oh, it looks like in 7 years, Pluto is gonna square all my Scorpio stuff, you know, and then we project 7 years of fear, and then it's gonna be okay. I can do this, and what does it mean? Oh, it means this, and you know, we're thinking of things causing things to happen. And the more I do this astrology stuff, the more I see that that it's a lot more mysterious than that, that we're dealing, when we talk astrology, we're dealing in the quantum realms. We're talking about entanglement more than we're talking about cause and effect. You know, we're talking about uh, projected meaning onto a thing and then that meaning reflected back to us due to the laws of quantum physics. And so what we're seeing in astrology, and especially with evolutionary astrology, when we're having a really conscious engagement with our Pluto square, or all of our Scorpio stuff, wow, okay, I can make choices in my perception. I can make choices in my mindset. I can make choices in my heart and how I engage this. And so Pluto comes to square Venus in 7 years. Okay, well, if that's going to happen, then I'm going to start now and really do everything I can to foment my self-love and know exactly what it is I need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that when Pluto comes to square our Venus in 7 years or whatever, we're at a place where, okay, I'm co-creating with this. All right, Pluto square my Venus. Wow, it's a waxing square here. Pluto's trying to pull my creativity out. I'm talking causal. Pluto is reflecting the fact that I am at a point in my life where the evolutionary need to grow beyond my old patterns is really strong right now. And Pluto squaring Venus, we'll say, could reflect that. And so seeing astrology as reflective instead of causal, I think, is one of the most important attitudes, perceptions, lenses to have as we move through Pluto in Aquarius. Why? Because in Pluto and Aquarius, Pluto control, Aquarius astrology, we're going to find things, and we were talking a little bit about this before we started recording, but we're going to find things where people say, oh, I've got a couple of keywords and let me put it into GPT or whatever, and out spits this whole astrology book, and hey, look at me, I'm an authority in astrology. No, you're not. You just know how to use AI. But these kinds of things might be percolating up. And so as we're entering into this very high vibrational time, this electric air place of Aquarius, and Pluto is in there, we as astrologers have to be very, very, very incredibly conscious of how we use our astrology. Are we using it for power? Are we trying to look cool? Or are we really, truly selflessly doing what we can to make a difference in the lives of whoever seeks us out? Are we looking to encourage the evolution of our fellow brothers and sisters and everyone in between, in their growth and towards, greater happiness and love? I don't know that that is necessarily an intention of the AI technology. And so as Pluto moves through Aquarius here, we as astrologers are going to have to be very, very conscious of how we use astrology. Understanding the interconnectedness of all things is something that I don't know if AI can grasp. But with that little intro, how are you guys doing?
Well, yeah, and you make so many good points.
Yeah.
I have Mercury square Uranus, so I have this, I can get tugged in every way possible. But I just love, how you express yourself, which I think probably, I think this probably has something to do with it. The Mercury, Sun, Neptune. I mean, everything that you just talked about kind of describe. I was just picturing little, just kind of my eyes would go to different parts of your chart, like the organic flowers and children, your Leo moon ruling your ascendant, and all these things. But I think this is what popped out to me when I first looked at your chart. Was, I mean, this is a pretty close conjunction here of a melding of the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune. So you kind of spoke a little bit, but is there anything else you want to add to that?
benefits and liabilities to that one. Yeah, and this, what I'm about to say, is a synthesis of information a synth from all sorts of places, but I'm going to credit Patricia Walsh in some of the things that I'm saying here. And she clued me into this amazing perception, is that we have two different faculties of perception. We have our Mercury mind, and the facts and the figures and the this and the that, and that's green and that's blue, and here I am, and here's you, and Mercury. Just the facts, man. But then we also have this other part where we get information, Neptune. And if we imagine Neptune, we have this three-dimensional reality, and then we have the what we could call trans reality, or imagination. Spirit is in there. All those things that are in pre-form. That's on the other side. Neptune isn't the other side. Neptune is our ability to interface with that other side. So Neptune is the window that we open, and then we can receive the information coming to us. We're not always in control of that stuff, but and all we need is a little projection or fear, or how about some sorrow, and then whatever comes in will be muddied and sullied, just like the same thing can happen with Mercury and the fear and the sorrow and the anger on our lens of what is. And so assuming those are clear, those lenses are clear perception, clear speaking, clear listening, and Neptune, clear transmission between human and imagination. Wow, in the best of all possible expressions, wow, Mercury, Neptune were able to articulate imagination. We're able to pull things out of the realm of pre-form and describe them with, at the very least, some colorful poetry. So Mercury, Neptune, wow, two different modes of perception. When they're clear, it's freaking awesome. And that leads us to the shadow. What happens when they're not clear? So raise your hand if you're a human. Okay, and those of us who are humans are subject to fear, sorrow, and anger, and all of the various spectrum of emotions that percolate from that. And all it takes is a little drip, a little drop, a little splash. Sometimes it's imperceptible. A little fear, a little sorrow, a little anger gets in there, and the Mercury ability to effectively communicate, and the clear transmission between us and spirit realm or imagination realm or whatever, we can start to make things up. We can start to go into unnecessary worry. We can create all sorts of illusions in our mind. So it's not like, I can say, oh, hey, anybody want a Mercury Neptune conjunction? Hey, yeah, I'm giving them out. Yeah, they're free. Everybody wants one. Yeah, no, you gotta be very Neptune. Neptune is not an easy planet to have conjoined anything, but because it is the absolute worst thing for the ego. And the ego wants. The ego says, oh, I desire. The ego says, well, I'd like to be safe, like some food. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with that. But the way Neptune works is Neptune is the principle of sometimes we have to be patient while the bread is baking in the oven, and to eat it before it is cooked, it just doesn't work. And so with the Neptune archetype, we have to, the way I like to describe it to clients with Neptune, normally we have our thumbs pointing towards each other, and we're typing or we're cutting or scissoring, massaging, we're doing something. But when we turn our thumbs in this kinesiology, when we turn our thumbs away from each other, we enter into supination and the heart opens and our back stretches out and we let things go. There's not a lot that we can do. And that's Neptune. That's Pisces, and that's the 12th house, where we have to be in allowing mode, where we have to be in releasing mode. I mean, we can catch a beach ball and we can say, okay, God, fill me full of light. But for the most part, screwing in a light bulb, we're not doing too much. And so when Neptune wants to do, but it can't do, it has to just be patient and be, you know, Neptune can then all that energy that blocks up. And from that, we get energy release or leaking energy. There's addiction in there, there's fantasy in there, there's illusion in there. Throw in some shadow Cancer South Node hyper emotionality into the place. Oh my gosh, again, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. All of that said, as far as being an astrologer, let's bring this all back to, the professional level. Being an astrologer, having a sixth house Sun, Mercury, Neptune, it's actually a really incredibly, I almost want to weep. It's such an incredible honor because in those sacred moments, I don't know what's coming out of my mouth. I mean, I'm just, okay, yeah, here's your South Node in Aries in the 8th house and blah, 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 blah. I don't necessarily know what might be coming through me because, we open up that door to the other side, if you will, and who knows what might fall through that window. But 6th house, when we do this in service, when we do this out of wanting to help humanity, that's Virgo, that's the 6th house. That's Chiron, the modern ruler of Virgo. We can talk about that, but that's Chiron, that's 6th house, that's Virgo, where it's like the merry-go-round goes around, the zodiac goes around and around, but Virgo comes around. Oh, Virgo's got a bad rap. Everybody off of the carousel. Okay, kids, no more playing. I got to get in there with the toolbox and add the grease and tighten the thing, do the thing, and fix the light bulb and da-da-da-da. Then everybody can get back on the carousel and it can go around the year again. I mean, around the wheel. I mean, around and around again. Thanks, Virgo. It is that one point in the year, one place in the zodiac where we stop and we make sure that everything works so that everything, like I said, can go around. So Virgo, 6th house, my 6th house Sun, can be a curse. We can talk about that, but in the blessing part of it, to be of service for humans and say, hey, here are some ways that we can just be a little happier or find more courage. I mean, that's pretty much everything right there. Dan Millman said it's all about, happiness. I want more money, more love. I need more, I want a better job. I want to live in a different place. We just want to be happy. And so that's what we want to find in the astrology chart. Where's the happiness? Oh, yeah, we can talk about the challenges with the parents and your past life karma and all of that. But it comes down to we want to be happy. And so I love to be in service of that as a good inspirational Sag with a Leo moon. Yeah, this is what we can do to be happy. Why? Because I have Saturn in the 12th house and I've experienced a lot of hell, suffering, hardship, and disillusionment in my life. And that's also my Scorpio stuff too, right? That's what Scorpio says. Hey, guess what? You're gonna die. So let's live sacredly right now. Let's, as Henry David Thoreau said, let's live deliberately and front only the essential facts of life and learn what it has to teach, and not when I come to die discover that I had not lived. That's Scorpio. And so that's one thing I love about my chart, especially in the context of being a professional astrologer, is, I would love to be of service for my fellow humans because we are all on the merry-go-round and we all need to stop every once in a while and grease our gears, and I am very grateful for, and it's hard to talk about because it's intercepted, but I'm very grateful for all my Scorpio energy because, you want some soul retrieval. You want to talk about, how you were burned at the stake? No problem. We can do all that. It slices, it dices. Not, I walked down the stone staircase, let's just call it that way. So I've seen some stuff. And in my seeing some stuff, any adversity in this human life is, and I'm talking to myself right now, is always here to teach us how to be more courageous and how to be more loving. The astrology chart can show us that. Any questions?
This is beautiful. Ryan, do you know what I've noticed, and this is the first time I'm meeting you and interacting with you, and it's lovely. I see so strongly your Leo moon. But also you spoke about linking to nature in going back to the natural rhythm of how we are connected to the natural rhythm of Earth in life. I look at the asteroid Lilith, the undistorted feminine, and yours is at 5 degrees of Capricorn, so it's conjuncting your Jupiter in the sixth house. You talk about service to the divine. It's like you're teaching and guiding people to go back to what's natural, which is that
Heck yeah.
collective, oneness, sharing, caring, inclusion, which is the Sagittarius archetype. It's the Daemon archetype. And I very much see it in what you've just said now, and what I've seen of you in your teaching videos, etc. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're doing the divine work you were here to do.
Oh my gosh, and have I got the scars to prove it? Um,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, here's
yes.
one right here. I got another one here, and here's one here. Yeah, thank you for that. And it's true. It's we're all walking each other home, they say.
Mm,
And let's face it, Capricorn, let me jam on that one for a minute. Capricorn
mm,
in Ryan's system is the alpha and the omega. It is the bottom of the mountain and the top of the mountain, and everything in between is the rest of the chart.
yeah.
And so, if not to give away too much of my book here, but if we understand that, that it's like every time we enter into the Capricornian archetype, and that's with Saturn, that can be 10th house. But anytime we enter this Capricornian archetype, we're looking at holding kind of two realities at the same time. We're in the dead of winter, and it's the darkest days. And if we didn't do Virgo right, we're somewhat impoverished. If we did Virgo and Taurus consciously, hey, we planted a big garden, the garden harvest came in, and we're set up in Capricorn season to make it through the winter. If we're not set up, we got to be austere and we got to be focused, and we must be non-hyper emotionally reactive. But we make it up that mountain step by step, and we get whipped in the face. I'm making it in the desert, whipped in the face with an ocotillo and a big thorn stuck in our cheek, and we walk a little further and twist our ankle as we're taking out the thorn. And in that moment, we can go into shadow Capricorn, shadow Saturn. Oh, life sucks, then you die. Everything's challenging. Everything's hard. Oh my God, this three-dimensional world, the brick wall of reality. Thanks, Saturn. Thank Capricorn. Uh, I can get to Cancer, but it'll just go back to Capricorn eventually. So, but wait a second. But then Capricorn says, oh, but I wonder what the view is from up there. Right now, while I'm taping my ankle and wiping the blood off my cheek, up there's a little plateau, and I wonder if you can get a good view of the valley. And Capricorn sets its intention on going just a little further. Why? Because it can, and there might be something there that's worth it. Because right here kind of sucks. And so Capricorn, a little further, and then gets to that plateau. Do we want to build a house there? Maybe, maybe not. But what if there's an even better view up there? What if there's a lake up there? Somebody told me there was a gold deposit up there, and then it's worth hiking. And then when we get to the quote top of that mountain, wow, it's magnificent, it's beautiful, and I did it, and oh, I feel so good, and I'm so strong and stable, and I can, the little engine that could, I knew I could, and we can stop there. The Omega, the peak of Capricorn. All right, yes, I'm successful or whatever. I mean, I guess I have yet to fully get there, but I'm on my way there. And we get to Capricorn. Oh, I'm successful. And the irony is the second that we're there, we take a look around and we say, oh, well, there's another mountain to climb. And so that Capricorn archetypology, we often forget. We think that it's just a goat. It is and maybe you know this, but it is a mer-goat. It is half fish, half goat. The fish, the representing the single-celled organism from which we originated, to the goat all the way to that animal that climbs to the highest peak. So therefore, Capricorn representing the Alpha and the Omega represents the journey, the entirety of the journey of existence in these three-dimensional, bodies that our souls are housed in, or whatever, however we want to conceptualize that. And so Capricorn's given a bad rap because, oh, you're stoic, oh, you're not feeling, oh, you're just a curmudgeon. And Capricorn's like, no, actually, I started it all and I'm gonna finish it all. From dust I came, to dust I shall return. And so my north node in Capricorn, everything I just said is stuff I'm learning. I don't have this mastered. I'm a Cancer South node. Let me cry about that. So integrating this everything that I said into my life, it's really huge. And the payoff, Jupiter in Capricorn, the payoff is I get to sit here on this platform with the two of you and talk about these big things, and maybe one or two or 10 or more people are gonna watch this, and maybe it'll be helpful to them too. And then we can all get up the freaking mountain. I ain't gonna carry your pack. I mean, I wish I could, but I can't. I've done that, Cancer South. No, I can't do that anymore. But hey, we can go up the mountain together, and I'm going up it, and you can go up, and here's some tools. Awesome. That's what I like about Capricorn. And we can do this
Nice.
for every planet, everything.
But yeah, but it's like you just said, we're walking each other home. Essentially, that is the journey of life. That's how I see the journey of life. And even as astrologers, the clients we work with, even the people we connect with, we're learning something, constantly learning something about this journey, growing, evolving. Yeah, beautiful. I agree with the whole Capricorn. I am a Capricorn moon, as you know, so yeah, that makes me feel like, yeah, I'm doing the work.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and your Jupiter is the sponsor, shall we say, of all of your Sagittarius.
Yes.
I
Yes.
like that sponsor.
I've been trying to think of a word that, because I don't like
I
ruler,
love that.
and I've seen other people say that they don't like, talking about it as a ruler. It's so patriarchal.
As the
I think,
boss.
oh
Yes.
yeah, but
I like
so
that.
I thought I would
It's a
test out
sponsor.
sponsor.
Yep. And I'm so grateful, because if I didn't have that Capricorn energy in my chart, then there is really no telling what paths of irresponsibility that I would have gone down. Uh, uh, And if my Scorpio were not intercepted in the fifth house, I could have gotten into a lot more trouble than I actually did.
Well,
It-
and one theory on that, being intercepted is that, you've done that before
yeah, oh sure.
and learned from it. And, and perhaps, the experience tells you,
Well, there's no need for it in this lifetime, basically. You've done it.
Yep.
You don't need to repeat that.
yeah, you can use it for good, as the saying goes.
Yes, it's the passionate creativity.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So I love asteroids, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but they just kind of organically flow in and out of my astrology software, because I'll get a little glimpse of something, and or somebody will be talking about Greek goddesses, and I'll say, I wonder if there's an asteroid for that, and I'll put it in there. So in the few that kind of had any little bit of resonance, that that happened to be in my software, let's put it that way, were Isis and Osiris. And I left Osiris because it's right here on your ascendant. And you were talking about the goddess, and Isis is down here in Leo, and it's conjunct the north node of Neptune, which kind of pulls in that priestess, I think that you were talking about.
There you go. There you go. And yeah, and with that priestess remark. And so here I am. Yeah, I grow flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an astrologer, and I'm a goddess worshiper. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess part of my mission is about doing what I can to help rectify the fissure between the divine masculine and the divine feminine.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess as I do this astrology work, it is a feminine receptive type of work. I mean, that's a Neptunian quality, so being who I am, being able to receive and empathize and resonate, what other words could I use, with another individual that is this incredibly sacred place. And yeah, I suppose if we were to say masculine, feminine, I guess I would ascribe a more feminine, nurturing, soft, receptive quality to that. So my astrologer was right.
Yeah. And
Yes.
Osiris is about remembering as well, which
Ah,
I love.
oh yeah, I remember it very well. No.
And
Well,
then
they do also say that the Scorpio energy links to a past life in Egypt, right? So, you
Oh,
have that intercepted.
yeah, sure. Sounds good to me. In fact, the second time that someone has suggested of a past life in Egypt. So, I'll explore that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The I do want to make a little mention about that fissure between the divine masculine and divine feminine, if I may.
Please.
Mm.
And a little bit of this is in my book, but I can imagine pick out a few other male astrologers. Me and Steve and Maurice were sitting around the campfire, beating our chests, wondering where our women went. Oh, well, woman, where'd women go? And Maurice said, well, isn't it really interesting that when that thing in the night sky disappears, so do the women? And I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's so right. And then Steve says, well, you know what else, Ryan? When that thing in the night sky gets out big and bright and full, you know what? They're gonna want us to beat the drums and feast and oh yeah, yeah. Well, beating our chests. But it's in that moment. Now, women knew it long before us men, but in that moment, we men were like, oh, wait a second. Whoa, there's connection there. That thing in the night sky, let's call it moon. That moon is connected to the woman. Whoa, and the woman's connected to the moon, and the woman, the magic babies come out of them. I don't know how that happens. We didn't know how that happened. Babies come out of them. Whoa, magic, woman, life, mother, home, love. Home is where the heart is. Moon, home, woman, moon, home. Da, 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 da. There it is. Birth of astrology, birth of the matriarchy, matriarchal religions. Well, projecting our human qualities onto something that we're observing happening in nature. Huh. Interesting. And for a while, wow, that's what it was, man. Oh, the sacred great goddess. Oh, she's producing raspberries and giving us animals to eat. Oh, praise to the goddess. And then we came out of the last ice age and the seasons started getting a little bit more pronounced. And somebody said, yeah, well, I was eating nothing but raspberries for 2 weeks. And then that place where I pooped all of the raspberries out, now there's raspberry plants there. Oh, I can take these raspberries and I can plant them in rows. And I can take those animals and I can fence them in. I can control the mother. Well, welcome to the birth of the patriarchy and the sun religions, solar religions. And since that time, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but since that time, there has been either a relative or an incredibly overt in your face, hardcore uh, attempt to control and dominate the cycles and the rhythms of nature. The patriarchal urge to control and dominate the divine feminine. And as a farmer, I'm kind of like, what's up, dudes? No, 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 no. It's co-creation, yo. It's the sun and the moon working together. If the sun weren't here, there would be no planets and it wouldn't be a big deal. If there were no moon, the earth would right itself on its axis. There would be no seasons. There would be no pulse of life. There'd be no rhythms, no heartbeat. I don't know if life could have started, let alone be sustained on this planet without the moon. Sun and moon working together. And so too long, I don't know, 15,000 years, give or take, uh, it has been heavy. And we're seeing that still today, heavy in the, oh, I can control and dominate nature. I'll just genetically modify this and I'll just climate control that and hybridize that. And I mean, it doesn't matter that all the nutrients are out of it. We can ship it. And so the control and domination over the rhythm, the cycles of nature, that's not sustainable. And observing and engaging, co-creating, dancing with, flowing with the rhythms of nature, what do we call that? Organic or biodynamic, sustainable agriculture, permaculture. I mean, there are so many ways that we can now say, oh, wait a second, the great goddess, yeah, the sacred rhythm and the nurturing principle and the magic mystery. Oh, yeah, honor that. And sun. Wow, we know what the seasons are, and we know that you don't plant corn in January. Thanks, sun. And so, all right, wow, we can work together and we can work with nature co-creatively, and we can take all our hemp to a centralized processing facility and walk away with all our plastic. We don't need, the solutions are there. So I'm on a mission, maybe you've picked up on it, to reunite the divine masculine and the divine feminine, where we can just all get along once and for all, because what we're looking at in so many aspects of society, we see it pervasive throughout. We're seeing the fissure between, oh no, I can control. Oh, but you're not feeling enough. Oh, but your feelings are, caustic. Oh, but you're not feeling as caustic. And here we are. And so I love astrology because it shows, and through our conscious working of it, we can see, oh, I've got these feminine aspects. Oh, I've got these feminine qualities. Oh, I have these masculine aspects and these masculine qualities. Oh, whoa, I have the divine masculine and feminine within me. Wow, cool. And then we all get along and all is well in the world. So, thanks for listening.
There you go. That's wow. Yeah. Can't we all just get along?
Yeah,
As
can't we all just get along? I mean, grow your lettuce and you can plant it in rows and you can fence in your sheep. That's fine. Just understand the long-term effects of monocropping. And if you're not doing things like rotational grazing, maybe you should rethink that. I mean, I've been involved in the organic agriculture movement for 2 decades, where I live, and I know many executives for the largest organic cooperative in the world, Organic Valley. They did over $1 billion
oh wow.
in sales. And then it's all organic dairy, meat, vegetables, and they're rocking and rolling. And they're all, my friends here and some clients here, and there are answers. There are ways of doing it. Solutions of, all the ecological disaster, we're destroying the earth and there's no more land, and oh, there's no more farmland, and oh, overpopulation, what are we going to do? Well, it's really actually quite simple. We're going to work co-creatively with nature. We're going to understand the cycles and rhythms. We're going to say, what does nature want? And then we're going to flow with that. So, yeah, stay tuned.
So I just kind of an aside, how what that makes me think of what how do we proactively keep the the intrusion of the separation of and keep it back on the getting along and the the organic and nature and
Yep.
the reason I'm what makes me think of it is your karma asteroid is also in Sagittarius with everything else. And Sagittarius in Jeffrey's estimation is about the natural and nature and living with nature. So how do we, I mean, is it just an individual
Yep. Yep. We Sagittarians, yep. That's what we get paid for. The answers. You Geminis ask the questions, and we Sagittarians have the answers, which of course lead to another question, and then we have an answer for that, but it just leads to another question.
So coincidentally, my moon is exactly opposite your karma.
There you go. Like I said, you keep asking the questions.
I got lots of questions.
It was Goethe who said, if everyone swept in front of their own steps, the whole world would be clean.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
So I was just thinking that as well, in terms of we've all got to do our bit
Mhm.
individually to link it collectively. And it's conscious intention as well, what Ryan's been speaking about, working even with your chart in a conscious way, rather than just you looking at the light rather than the dark. And it's what can we do in the here and the now to, in a way, to even heal the traumas of Earth, what the patriarchy has done to Earth, and um, just the way we've ended up, the way we're living. And if the goal is to move back into more of a matriarchal sense, we've got to do the work now, here and now,
Yep.
because this is all that's real.
Well, what we want is the integration, like
Mm.
like with the nodes, like the nodes of the moon. Like some individuals, some schools of thought, different observations of astrology and karma, etc., say south node bad, go away. North node good.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Oh, stay away from that south node. Oh, that's a bad stuff. Oh, you're doing your Cancer south node. Ooh. No,
Shame on you.
yeah. No. What we want is integration. In Ryan's system, the south node of the moon represents our original intention for manifesting as a human in the first place. In Ryan's system, the south node of the moon is the force of involution. Spirit into form, involution, evolution, form into spirit, right? Oh, we need to evolve and get into our spiritual selves. Yeah, but what about getting into our human selves? And so spirit manifesting, spirit involuting as human, there's the south node of the moon. Ryan's original intention for manifesting as a human in the first place is to be a powerful healer, first house Cancer, south node. And to do that through sharing a hopeful, optimistic story, moon in Leo, third house. Tell me that's bad. Tell me I'm wrong, Tell me I'm an idiot for wanting that in the first place. No, that's my original intention. That brought me out of the Pleiades or wherever the heck I was, my 13th dimensional form. All right, well, chocolate and sex. Okay, fine, I'll be a human.
Okay, I'll sign up.
So, but but look at it, try it out. Look at your own south node. Oh, this is my original intention for being here. It's just that the spirit gets into the realm of form, and the realm of form is unforgiving and it's relentless. And chances are there's already a bunch of jerks here who are going to try to take our crap. So, okay, so we come down here with oh, I'm going to be a healer and I'm going to, Cancer, I'm going to be a representative of the great goddess. I'm going to do what I can to channel and emulate first house, the great goddess, Cancer, first house, south node. Noble, beautiful intention, and then we get down here and people are mean. And we get down here and it's, the chocolate cake might burn in the stove, and that good lovin' is, fraught with all sorts of complexities. And so the South Node original intention gets muddied and complexified by its interaction and by its interface with this three-dimensional world of form. And the fine print is we got to see it through. And chances are, South Node in Cancer, first house, we come down here and we're like, oh, I love everybody. And then all it takes is somebody being a jerk. And then it's like, oh, God, this world sucks. And then we try over and over and over and over again, because that's the fine print. You got to see it through. And so the North Node then is, as Stephen Forrest says, the North Node is nothing but a great suggestion. And that's true, but it is that force of, that is that archetype that our soul is needing to integrate into its being in order to help alleviate itself from the complexities of this three-dimensional world. So what's a remedy for feeling too much? Capricorn. Shut up and be happy. I mean, I'm joking. But Capricorn, Capricorn, oh my God, it's winter. Oh, I don't want to go outside and get some wood. And Capricorn says, do you want to stay alive? All right, and bundle up and go get some wood. Now we can say that more harshly, and that's how Saturn and Capricorn work. It will be more harsh if we don't do it. But see, Ryan's life lesson is to integrate more of that Capricorn. I don't know if you can tell from my verbosity, but I do have a very strong, hardcore, and powerful emotional body. It's this three-dimensional world of form, reality, responsibility, and all these other scary things. Oh God, that is really important for Ryan to integrate into that feeling realm for maximum happiness and successful execution of said intention. Make sense?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
your sponsor of your Capricorn is your Saturn in Gemini. So you're talking about it, and 12th house, feeling it, and
Mm.
it's immense.
I
Benefits
have a
of
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question to do with your 12th house, just because Saturn in Gemini, Saturn retrograde in Gemini in your 12th house,
Yeah.
and Neptune's quite prominent in your chart as well. How's your dream world? What is your dream world like?
Mm. Yeah. Um,
If you don't mind answering.
no. How do I want? Okay, let me go into the dream world and try to articulate it.
With Jupiter
Yeah,
right there.
what's my dream world like? It's a great question. So if let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go way back. Let me go to I'm probably 15, 16 years old, and I'm walking through the Minnehaha Creek Basin in Minneapolis, and a spot of nature in neighborhoods. And I'm walking through the woods and I see a flower. It's a columbine. I don't know if you know the flower, but I'd never seen anything like it. And I never really had paid much attention to flowers, but it's not like it was saying, hello, hi, I'm Columbine. Hi, Ryan. Would you like to be my friend? But on some level, there was a vibratory or energetic exchange that I could not necessarily explain just in the realm of imagination. But maybe it is just imagination, and so I'm like really having this energetic or vibratory intimacy with this columbine flower, and
They are
just
beautiful.
yeah, just in its intricacy, and wow, is this a jester's hat? I mean, wow, and it started talking to me, and my imagination connected with it, and from that moment, now I can talk, prior to that moment of, being an imaginative, creative, hyperactive child. But from that moment on, being very, very aware of my imagination and how my imagination it it's like we can think of imagination as just that little bubble that comes up, and it's more like, no, my imagination kind of goes into this realm of antimatter and quantum entanglement and multidimensionality and parallel universes, and it's quite active imagination, let's say. So much so that I have to be very careful uh, in my life, and this is one of the liabilities of some of these configurations. I have to be very careful because reality is something that I put a question mark after. That imagination seems to be more of what this world is than actual three-dimensional matter. And I don't know, maybe it's just, insanity, but it's not quite like that. But that's about as close as I can articulate it. That you know, here's probably one of the best ways to say it. Again, quoting Dan Millman, author of The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. He said, consciousness is not in the body is in consciousness. And you are that consciousness, and you're that body too. And welcome to the challenge of being a human. And so that consciousness, capital C, it's like I've got an awareness of that. I can, stretch my Pisces, midheaven, Sun, Neptune, psychic tentacles out, if you will. Oh, there goes a car driving by. Okay, let me. Oh, nope, I don't want to, imagine what that person is feeling. Liability. Okay, I'm walking through the shopping mall and I'm feeling everything that everybody on the planet is feeling. Get me the hell out of here. That's possible too. So learning how to reel up the garden hose of my psychic or imagination tentacles, a really important thing to do, because the imagination can then make a reality that is not real. So benefits and liabilities to
Well,
imagination.
what is real? That's my question.
Yeah,
That is the
what I was
question.
wondering, am I hearing you say it's all a dream?
Yes, there are those poets who say that, yes.
Well, and do you know where Mercury is right now? I'm sure you do.
Yep, sure do.
Right there. And heading towards your,
Oh yeah.
it's retrograde, headed towards your retrograde Mercury.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Watch
I'll
your
get my
dreams.
book
Watch. I'm like, watch your dreams. It rules your 12th house.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, well,
Beautiful.
let's see where do we want to go, Rav?
I don't mind. Well, what time are we on? We've done about an hour already.
Oh
Wow,
yeah,
time
yeah.
does fly.
Well,
Do you want your favorite question?
I am curious. Though, let's see. I can stop this. I want to see your beautiful flowers first of all. Which
Oh,
are those your some out of your garden? Your growing grounds?
the winterberry was grown by a friend, but yes, this is my hydrangea and cedar harvested from the Great North Woods, as well as some spruce. I get a permit every year from Superior National Forest
Wow.
up in northern Minnesota, and I'll go up there and cut balsam and dogwood and birch
Ooh.
trees and things like that and sell to florists in Minneapolis.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's fun. It's Herculean, but it's fun.
So I'm curious, just before we move to Rob's favorite question, what advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to be an astrologer professionally?
Well, definitely the way to do it is immersion, to eat and drink and breathe astrology, look through the lenses of astrology. I know that as a professional astrologer, if I go like I'm taking a trip here uh at the end of the month, and it'll be 2 weeks, in between reading charts. I know that at the end of the 2 weeks, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, well, what does this stuff mean? No, wait, yes, I know. Of course I know. Yeah, I teach this stuff. Wait, yeah, I know. And so if we go a couple days without immersing ourselves in it, then, you know, we can kind of slip back. And so number one, if someone's studying astrology, do it when you wake up, do it at lunch break, and do it before bed, just to explore or read or inquire or listen to something. The second thing that I would recommend, which is horribly self-serving, and so I won't necessarily mention myself, but individual personal tutoring I've found to be very, very effective for my students, because we can pull up their chart, and say, this is a deep dive and see how we get this. And so really having someone to bounce off your questions with it's invaluable, because we can sit there and watch things, and people can watch this and say, oh wow, there's some things that it elicited a question in my mind, and who do I ask about it? And then we could sit with it for a long time and it never gets answered. But if you have someone, that's there at your disposal, hey, what the heck is an inconjunct? Or my partner and I, our Venuses are inconjunct. Are we doomed, to be able to have someone that you can bounce your questions off of is really, really valuable. So those are the two main things that
Well, we will put your contact information in the description of the video. So in case anybody is interested and in contacting you, they can do that. And yeah, definitely.
Right on.
And Rob, you want to
Yes.
ask your question?
Yes. The bookworm that I don't need many more books in my life, but more are always welcome. So I do love reading, but apart from astrology books in your life,
Yeah.
and I know you've mentioned a few quotes and stuff in the books I've heard of. Are there any sort of books that stand out that have inspired you in your life?
Oh
That
yeah.
you would say to the audience who's listening that this is a great book to read?
Oh yeah. Other than astrology books, Tom
Yes.
Robbins, Skinny Legs and All.
Mhm.
Tom Robbins, Skinny Legs and All came out decades ago, but
Yeah.
it solves the
Okay.
Middle East crisis.
Wow.
Another Tom Robbins book, Jitterbug Perfume. It might be about aromatherapy, but really it's about flower essences. I'd highly, and our connection, both books, our connection with nature, highly recommend those two books. And of course, uh, I don't, I mean, everybody thinks they were somebody famous in a past life, right? But another book I wrote many 150 years ago, 75 years ago, Walden by Henry David Thoreau. I highly recommend that book. I think he only sold like 800 copies of it by the time he died, so he didn't really know the profound effect that his book had on nature, on the ecological movement, etc. It's kind of a Bible for many people who are engaged in nature studies, etc. But so rather than read it, maybe I'd recommend getting it on tape and listening to. Oh, did I just date myself getting it on tape? I think I did. Listening to the old wind-up phonograph, is sometimes a little easier than reading the book.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. I'm sure Sue will write down all these books in the
I will.
description when she
I will.
through it.
I get to before I post the video, which will be posted probably in another week or so. I listen to it and get all of the references so that I can put them in the description. And I have to tell you, I'm already smiling because this has been so much fun. But every time I rewatch the interviews, I just smile the whole way through. They're just so much fun. So my final question is, what do you do in your spare time?
Spare time? I'm a sixth house son. I have no spare time.
I don't know if we've had anybody that actually has cop to having spare time. But okay, so
Spare.
if
No,
you
I
were
can.
to have
Yes.
spare time,
Yes.
or if you would consider it something that's not work, how about that?
Yes, I mean, it's never. I'd love to kayak. I love to hike in the woods, and of course, to do flower arranging when it's, not work. That's always fun. I have my children are 30, 27, and 24.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, I started young.
Yeah.
Spending time with them. They live across the country, but if I can spend time with them, even if it's on FaceTime, my Venus, fifth house, yeah, that. All right, hanging out with the kids, I'm happy. And then my stepchildren, Luna and Treya, they are in eighth grade and ninth grade, respectively. Just family time is wonderful. Love to play cards with the
Oh,
kids.
do you guys do games?
Oh yeah, we love game night.
How Leo Moonish.
Yeah, Leo Moon. Yep. Yep. So there it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been fun. Is there anything else about you that you would like to tell us before we wrap up?
Yes, this is what I'm gonna say. Every and thanks for that question. Yes, because third house moon. Hey, do you want to say something? Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Um, that I'm really excited about my book coming out next spring or summer. I've developed a system of astrology that finds the exact beautiful storyline and uh, just what do I want to say? It's what I would call a unified field theory of astrology
Ooh.
that basically inverts conventional astrological assumptions in that many folks or a common conception of astrology is top down, is outside in, is the moon having an effect on my emotions, Saturn causing me to have a bad day, or whatever it is. The way that I have observed astrology actually working is bottom up. That the rhythms and the cycles of Earth is happen independent of humans. And that those rhythms and the cycles of the earth happening independent of humans, all of the 100% of the astrological archetypology, from phase relationship to aspects to the signs to the houses, 100% congruent with the cycles and rhythms of natures independent of humans. And so what I've uncovered, understood, or I don't want to say like exposed because it's just always been there, is that the real power of astrology starts from the earth. And from that, the energies percolate up through the growth cycle and the seasons and humans' engagement and experience with that. And then from that, we've projected all of the meaning that we find in our engagement with the world onto the planets and then the stars. But really, all of the wisdom contained in, again, every astrological meaning, archetypology has its roots in the cycles and rhythms of the earth. And in my book, I describe that and how to access that and how to observe that and how to engage that and what to do with it and how to maximize that and how to hook into that flow and rhythm and co-create with that flow and rhythm in order to live more happily and more in alignment. It's awesome, and it's simple, and it's accessible, and it's quite frankly written on the cells of your body. So that's
Wow.
all I can say about it.
Well, I certainly look forward to seeing it. And there was so much more that we could have talked about. Always. It's always a pleasure to interact with you, Ryan.
Thanks,
And
Susan.
so we'll do it again.
Yay.
We will.
All
Thank
right.
you, Ryan.
Well, so nice meeting you, Rob, and
Likewise.
chatting with you. I look forward to talking with the both of you more in the future. And if you ever need me, you know where to find me. It's
We'll
on the
in the
screen
description.
below. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both. And you both be well. And bye, everybody who's watching.